See, in C language, we have four types of user-defined functions, right? So there are four types of functions. Four types of functions. One is called as one is value passing and value returning type. Another one is value passing and value not returning type. Value not returning type. Third one is value not passing but value returning type. Fourth one is value not passing and value not returning type. So basically, we have a four types of functions in C language, that is called as value passing and value returning type, and another one is value passing and value not returning type, and see, third one is value not passing but value returning type, and fourth one is value not passing and value not returning type. We have a four types of functions. Okay, see, observe this one. See, right now, just I want to take that Studio Path Studio. Path Studio. See, click on the transactional process. See, right now, I wants to give the name is called as in parameter. In parameter. Right now, go to the F drive, 7 p.m. batch, select that folder, click on that create. Right now, here I have a one workflow file, drag a sequence, set as start node. Observe this one. I wants to take another workflow file. Click here, click on the flowchart, sub workflow. Okay, that is called as sub. See, before going to that, just wants to open that. See, see, this is the main workflow. Okay, this is the main workflow, and this is the sub workflow. Okay, see, observe this one. In main workflow, I will take that A equals to 10 and B equals to 20. Okay, so right now in the main workflow, we have a input values, right? So main workflow, we have a input values, A value 10 and B value is 20. So both the two values, I will send it from main workflow to sub workflow. See, observe this one. Here, See, AB values, I will send it to that sub workflow, and in sub workflow, in sub workflow, see, in sub workflow, I will take one extra variable, that is C. C is equal to A plus B. Okay, and display the result. Okay, so here and display the result. Result is 30. Result is 30. Observe this one. I have two workflow files. One is the main workflow, another one is sub workflow. Okay, two workflow files. I have taken that input values in main workflow and two values I send it to that sub workflow. So that means inputs I have sent from main workflow to sub workflow. In the sub workflow, I have done that business logic. This is called as a business logic. Okay, I have done in sub workflow and that display the result. That means this is the value passing but not returning. So that means, say, observe this one. All the input values, I have sent it to that main workflow to sub workflow. In the sub workflow, I have completed the business logic. That means whatever addition operation is done and result also displayed in main, result also displayed in sub workflow. That's why, see, passing the values from main workflow to sub workflow, result also displayed in that sub workflow. So that's why it is called as value passing but not returning type. Okay, see, observe this one. Here I have shown you see, second type, value passing and value not returning. Value passing and value not returning type. All the input values I have sent it from main workflow to sub workflow. In the sub workflow only, I have done the business logic and display the result. Okay. Okay. Right now, observe this. Right now, observe this one. Just I want to minimize this. Here, I will go to the studio. I have two workflow files. Okay. In the main workflow, just I have taken that one sequence. See, right click, set as start node, and go to the sub workflow. In the sub workflow also, right click, set as start node. I have taken two workflow files. Okay. See, in main workflow, I will take that input values. That values I will send it to that sub workflow and then display the result in the sub workflow. That means value passing but not returning type. Okay, value passing but not returning type. See, first of all, see, go to the variable panel. In this variable panel, I want to take A is the variable and B is the another variable. So right now, so int 32 and int 32 and then select that main scope. See, observe this. Assign, assign. See, A equals to 10, B is equal to 20. Okay. See, observe this. As per this diagram, all the input values I have to send it from main workflow to sub workflow, and then in sub workflow only I have to implement the business logic. Result also display in the sub workflow, right? So see here, if you want to send that input values from main workflow to sub workflow, first of all we have to call that sub workflow. Okay. If you want to call that sub workflow, we have a invoke workflow file activity is available. Drag and drop. And if you want to select that sub workflow, click on that browse for files, select that sub workflow, click on that open. Okay. So open. See, observe this. See, already I have selected the sub workflow. Right now, from main workflow itself, I will call that sub workflow. No worry. See, right now, the AB values, I have to send it to that sub workflow. This time, if you want to send that AB values to that sub workflow, here in this invoke workflow file activity, in this invoke workflow file activity, in this import arguments, there is a import arguments. Click on that import arguments. Click on that input arguments. If you want to increase it, just you can increase it, no worry. Okay, increase it. Right now, observe this. Here we have a create arguments. Okay, see, just click on that one. Give the name of the arguments. See, in this diagram, see A, B values I have sent it, the same variable names I have used in sub workflow, right? Okay, in this diagram, same AB names I have used it, but in our program, that means in our use case, the same names, there is no possibility to use it in sub workflow. Okay, so that's why, see, observe this one. See, here I am creating that arguments. That here, before creating that, so here the directions. There is a three directions that is called as in, out, and in out. There are three arguments. In the sense sending the value from main workflow to sub workflow. Okay. Out in the sense return the value from sub workflow to main workflow. In out in the sense bidirectional. Right now, leave all of these. Okay. So here just already in already selected. Okay. Right now, here I want to create that argument is called as I want to use the direction name before the argument name. So in underscore, okay, value 1. This is the argument name. From main itself, I want to send that integer values. So that's why the argument type is also integer type, and then value is called as A. Observe this one. Observe this. Here in my main workflow, A value I want to send it to sub workflow. So that's why here I have created that argument in underscore value 1. The direction is in, and then type is called as int32. So value is called as A. This time the A value is assigned to this argument. That means A value contains the 20. The 20 is stored in underscore value 1. So in the same way, I want to create one more argument in underscore value 2. In underscore value 2, type is called as int32. B value also, I want to send it from main workflow to sub workflow. So observe this one. Here I have created two arguments. One is one is the in underscore value 1. Another one is in underscore value 2. So A value is assigned to in underscore value 1, and B value is assigned to in underscore value 2. These two names you have to remind it. Okay, you have to remind it and then click on that OK. What are the arguments you have created? That arguments go to that sub workflow. In the sub workflow, there is a argument panel. There is an argument panel. Click on that argument panel. the same name of the arguments you have to create it here. In underscore value 1 and in underscore value 2. Okay, see, select the direction is same, in is the direction, argument also same type. I am sending integer values, so that's why in the sub workflow also just you have to create that arguments, same name of the arguments we have to create in sub workflow in argument panel. Okay, in argument panel again you have to click on that one, it will be hides. Right now observe this, right now observe this one. See, go to the variable panel. In this variable panel, I will create one more extra variable that is called as C, and then see right now int 32 and then select that sub. Okay, that means scope only. Okay, see right now drag that assign activity. C is equal to arguments. So whatever the values is coming from that main to sub workflow, that values in that values uh, already available in that argument. So that's why in value 1 plus in value 2, in value 2. See right now drag a message box, drag a message box and display the result. Okay, the result is already stored in C variable. So just give that C. Observe this. Click on that main workflow. Right now, I'm executing from that main workflow itself. So click on the debug. See, our execution will start from main, and then AB values will be sent it to the sub workflow. In the sub workflow, addition operation will be performed and then display the result. The result is called as 30. The result is called as 30. Click on that. OK. See, observe this one. As per this diagram, see, the input values I have sent it from main workflow to sub workflow. In the sub workflow, I have done the calculation and display the result here. See, all the input values I'm sending from main workflow to sub workflow. So that's why it is called as value passing and value not returning type, because the result also I have displayed in sub workflow only. Okay, so do you have any doubt here? If you have any doubt, please ask me. So many times that means in your project, so we have to use this invoke workflow file activities and parameter passing.
Sir, hello.
Yes, yes.
So create a variable C in main or sub.
Please come again.
So we have created variable C in main or sub.
See, for input purpose, just we are as per this type input values we have to create in that main workflow. That purpose I have just we have to use that variable panel. So okay, creating that variables, assign the values to that variables. But the same, that if you want to send it to that main workflow to sub workflow, at the time in that main workflow, in that import arguments, just you have to create that arguments. Okay, see, for that arguments just you have to assign the values. Okay, a value is assigned to this argument. Here the direction will be play that major role. The direction is in, so that's why the a value is assigned to this argument, and this will be sent it to that sub workflow. Okay, and b value is assigned to that another argument, so that's why it is also sent it to that sub workflow. And see, click on that. Okay, but see, in sub workflow, whatever that argument you have created in import arguments, in that import arguments, whatever the arguments you have created, the same name of the arguments you have to create it in sub workflow in that argument panel. Okay. Next, so what are the in the variable panel? I have created that C variable because so I am calculating that. Okay, what are that inputs came from that main workflow, and then so just I am solving that simple expression where exactly I have to store the result. So one local variable is necessary. So that's why I have created that one local variable is C, and then so C and display the result in that message box. Clear?
Yes, sir.
See, what is the difference between variable and argument? So interview point of view, they will ask you, observe this. What is the difference between variable and argument? See, variable can accessible within the workflow file. Okay. Argument, we can pass that arguments, pass the arguments from one workflow to another workflow. See, observe this one. In my main workflow, I have created two variables. Okay. These two variables, there is no possibility to directly use it in sub workflow. Okay. Because this variable scope is only within the workflow file. Okay. It can be accessible. But I have created that arguments, right? Click on these arguments. See, if right now, once if I click on that arguments, it is showing that arguments, right? See, these arguments, it is sent, that means it what see what are that input value is assigned to that arguments, it will be send it to that sub workflow. That means workflow to workflow. So it will be send that value. So that's why here you can say that so variable can accessible, okay, within the workflow file. And argument, we can pass the arguments from one workflow to another workflow. Observe this one, the same name of the argument. So in import arguments, I have created this argument, the same name of the argument I have created in sub workflow in that argument panel, right? Okay, so this is the difference between both of them. See, observe this one. Sometimes if you click on that import arguments, so see the that means this arguments editor will not be open. So at that time, if it is not showing while clicking here, say simply go to the properties. See, you select that invoke workflow file activity, go to the properties. Here we have a arguments. So click on that arguments, and then so it will show you this one. Okay, this arguments. Sometimes we'll get an issue at that time. You can go and click on that. Okay. Do you have any doubt here?
No, sir.
See, find student total and average find student total by using in parameter. Okay, what exactly the use case? How many inputs are there? How can you send from main workflow to sub workflow?
Sir, can you please repeat the question, sir?
See, find student total by using that in parameter.
We have to take the student subject total subjects in the main project and
Yes, main
total in
workflow.
the sub project, sir.
All yes,
Main workflow
all
and
the
sub.
inputs, student marks we have to take it in main workflow and send that marks to the sub workflow. In sub workflow, you have to complete your business logic. That is finding the total. That is enough. Clear? This is one use case. See, find student total and average by using in parameter. Another one is find factorial of a given number using in parameter. Observe this one. So second use case also as usual you know that one. Okay. See, to find the total and average in sub workflow, that is enough. But find factorial of a given number. Whatever the input value is there, that value you have to send it to the sub workflow. In the sub workflow, just you have to implement the logic. That means, see, find that factorial. Okay. So in the sub workflow and result also display in that sub workflow. Okay. This is the another use case. Do you have any queries here?
No, sir.
Madam Nitya.
No, sir.
Okay, okay. See, this third use case right now I want to implement. Just I will show you that. See, go to that home. So click on that transactional process in parameter 2. Click on that open main workflow. So right now, remove this flowchart. I will go and take that another workflow file, sub workflow, drag a sequence, set as start node, go to the sub workflow, drag a sequence, set as start node. See, I want to find that factorial of a given number by using in parameter. Input value only I will send it to main to sub, and then so in sub, so I will implement my business logic. I will show you. So I want to take var int 32 main scope assign activity invoke workflow file var equals to 5. I want to find that 5 factor. So this input value I will send it from main workflow to sub workflow. So select sub workflow, click on that import arguments. Here only one input value I'm sending from main to sub. So in underscore value or any name you can give it, no issue. Int 32 right now var right now, click on that OK, go to the sub workflow, go to that arguments. See, argument always create in sub workflow in that argument panel, already I told. Okay, so in underscore value type is called as integer type. Observe this. See, I want to find that factorial. See, if I want to find that factorial, so already input value came from main to sub, and rest of the business logic I have to implement it. So to implementing the business logic, if you have any variable is, if you have any need, so of any other variable, then you can declare it in variable panel. Okay, so right now I want to create that I is the variable and fact. Okay, just that is the variable, so those are integer types. Okay, in 32, see, sorry, see, here simply I will take that as sign. So I want to take that fact equals to 1. See, I equals to 1, and then I want to take that while activity. See, right now check that condition. See, here I want to add the condition. Say that is the I less than or equals to, less than or equals to, condition is in underscore value. See, up to, I want to find that factor. So once from 5 factor in the sense 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So that's why multiply with each and every one. So that's why in that condition I have given that argument is in underscore value, and then right now, so inside that body, so just I want to add that as sign. See, observe this. Fact equals to fact into I. So right now I equals to I plus 1. Okay. The finally, see, after after completion of this loop, after completion of the loop, I want to display the result. Just I want to drag a message box, and then here right now just I want to, my result is in in this fact variable. Okay, see, observe this one, fact. See, input value I have sent from the main workflow to sub workflow, and then so in supporting variables I have created in sub workflow in the variable panel, and argument as usual I have created in argument panel. So I have implemented the business logic here. I have implemented the business logic here. Right now from main workflow itself I want to debug this process. See 120. 5 factor is 120. Right now, I will go to that main workflow. In this main workflow, I want to change that input value is 6. Okay, I want to execute this one again. Click on the debug. So, so the input value will send it from main workflow to sub workflow. In the sub workflow, it is implementing the business logic. Okay, whatever the business logic is there that executing right now, and then display the result. So 6 factor is okay 720. Okay. Do you have any queries right now?